Hi guys, today we're doing the mouse wallet and this one's going to be done in a 5x7 hoop, so there's going to be more than one hooping. If you want to do the video where it's just all in one hoop, that's going to be another one. So today, step one is the actual tab that is going to kind of like keep the cards in, and that is a hoop all by itself. And so I did the placement stitch, and then I just, obviously yours is going to look different because this has messy highlighter on it, but just so you can see it, there is going to be applique done on this. So if you don't know how to do that, I'll run through it really fast. Placement stitch first, and then we're going to put our piece of vinyl on it. And then when we run step two, that's going to give you the guideline for the next part of the applique. Don't be afraid to use scraps here. I use my scraps for everything. It actually kills me when I make this video because I use bigger pieces than I normally do. But just a tiny piece of black would be perfect for the ears, just as long as you make sure you cover up all the placement stitch. You can see where that is. Then I'm going to put black on top. I'm going to run the next step. And then I'm going to pause my machine. I'm going to cut all around it. And then there's going to be one more step for the bow. So this is all the way to step 4. So I cut really closely around my applique of the ears, and then I ran the placement for the bow. And so step 5 is going to be where you put the vinyl on for your bow choice. So before going on to step 6, you need to make sure that you've done all of the cutting because the next steps are going to be the satin and it's going to make it look pretty. So the next step is going to be the head satin and then the bow satin. I don't take a pause between the two unless you're switching thread or whatever you need, but then we're going to be able to make it all the way to step 8 after this. Okay, now that the satin stitch is done, we're going to do bottom of the hoop stuff. We don't take anything out of the hoop. We're going to leave it in the machine as is. You take another piece of vinyl that covers all of the same stitches as the top. You slap it on. You either tape it or you hold it, depending on what kind of machine you have. And then you're going to run the next 2 steps. One is going to go all the way around it and basically finish it off. And then the one after that is the stitches that are going to tell you where to place your hardware. Once you've done all of the steps, then you are good to go. You can take this out of your hoop and then you're going to cut around it. And make sure on this one, you're going to actually cut it out really nice, as in it's like the final product, because when it goes on the wallet, you're not going to want to cut it again. And this is this stitch right here. That's what we're going to use when we attach it to the wallet. So just make sure when you're cutting, you cut around the largest, like the outside stitch. Okay, so now it is all cut out and it's ready to go. So we can just cut it out, put it to the side. The next step is you need to re-hoop again. So tear away in here. I already did placement stitch number 1. And what you need to make sure is that even this little tab is completely covered, else it's not going to work well. And then what we're going to do is after that, you're going to stitch on top of just the one piece of vinyl, and that's going to be your placement for the card holders. Okay, so there is a choice that you can do where you can hoop and figure out your the pieces that are going to hold the cards, and then that way there's just going to be like a tiny stitch on top to make it look clean. But for me, that doesn't matter, especially not for this size. So what I did is I cut each piece 3 by 3, and then they're going to go on top, and then that way you don't have to do an extra hooping. So then this is really still only a 2 hoop project. So now this is where it's going to confuse some people with the tutorial that are like not, they're more visual people. So what you have is here is your wallet, and here are the 3 placement stitches. Now, do you see that this is where the top is? So what she said to do is you're using the first one and you're going to do it closest to the top. So you have to, basically you're going backwards. So I want my yellow piece to be the up top. So what she's saying to do is that this needs to go here, and then you're going to do it here, so it's going to hold the card. So you're basically going kind of in reverse, if that makes sense. So I'll show you. And make sure you do it really straight, because you're only going to really have one chance at this, because if you keep kind of messing around, it's not going to get as clean. And you also need to make sure to do the 3 by 3, because else it is going to go over your wallet on top, and then that's going to present a problem. Okay, so we give you a little bit of leeway, so you don't have to be right on that line because you want to make sure that you're covering it. So, for instance, now you can see this is going to be my top card holder, and what's important is that it's not going to go over this, so it's not going to overstitch. And then now I want my middle piece, which I'm deciding to do red, and now my middle piece is going to go on that second line down, and then there's going to be like a nice space there. Give me 1 second. Let me do this and not get my fingers. You should tape if you don't feel comfortable doing fingers. It's just a preference. I'm sure we've all messed up. I've definitely had needles go through my finger, and it's not the best feeling, but you usually survive. Tape is obviously also going to keep it straight if you need to be super OCD about it. And then my third piece of vinyl, I'm just going to do on the machine real quick so you can kind of see it follows that exact same process that we were already doing. Okay, so now what you're going to see is all of your cards holders are in place. So now you're going to be able to fit your 3 different credit cards there, and they're all floppy still, and then this again is still the top of your wallet. So the next step is going to be the placement where you're going to put this guy. So these are done a little bit different just because of the fact that we're trying to be able to participate with smaller hoops for people. So this is going to be a little bit different. Normally you would hide your tab, but you're not going to hide it here. This top stitch is going to be what lines up, get that light, there we go. What lines up with this. And you're going to actually stitch it like this in the hoop, so you're going to be able to see the edge, but it is all sewn, so it's clean. But then, obviously, when you're using the wallet, it's not going to show. So, this stitch, you line up with the stitch that you have, and run that step real quick. And you want to make sure that you line this up really closely so it fits. Sometimes the video doesn't listen to it as well as I want. So that didn't make any sense, but it doesn't record as good as I want for the sound. So what I said was to make sure you follow that line exactly. So mine is not sloppy at all because of the fact that it's right on that line. Then you know that it's straight and it's centered. So then when we're finished with the wallet, it will line up perfect with those other placements. So keep it out like this, like floppy, so it's not going to be in the way. And then you're going to run the second to last step on the bottom of the hoop, and that's where you're going to have the back of the wallet. So again, just for super visual people, everything on the top of the hoop, this back of the hoop, and you're going to make sure you cover all of your placement stitches. So in a perfect world, I would have done a little bit better job centering these. I ended up going too far over, but it works still because I have to cut it. But see how I ended up having all this extra because it's the 3x3, so I should have centered it on the line a little bit better. So hopefully you do that. But now what you're going to do is you have all of everything stitched in, and then it's all done on the back. The only thing left that you have to do is the final placement for the snap. And then the rest of it is cutting, and then you're going to add a snap on the bottom and a snap on the top. And I have snap videos and stuff like that, but it's a cam snap. If you have an issue with that, you can come to us in the Off With Our Threads group or anything else, but I'm pretty sure most of you know how to install the snaps. So, like I said, it's down here. So this one, depending on how you want to do the his or her snap, some people like them up and down, doesn't really matter, but you're going to need one on top here to snap at the one on the bottom there. I neglected to also tell you that you need a can snap up here. So you have the can snap here, and then this gives you the little hook. Easy peasy. And then you have the one down here. Now your cards are safe. It is a super cute wallet. Make sure you are part of the Off With Their Threads community group on Facebook. We help out if you need it. Other than that, have a great day. Thanks.